Hey traders, Jason here from Leavitt Brothers. In today's video, I'm going to talk about how to enter trades with technical indicators. I teach all of this in my Masterclass, plus of course a lot more. Moving averages, stochastic, MACD. I teach specific trading strategies you can use on multiple time frames to identify setups and pinpoint entries. So whether you're just starting out and want to get on the right track and save yourself a ton of time and money, or you've been trading for a little while but can't seem to get over the hump, you ought to check it out. It's available at the link below. All right, let's get started. Let's talk about strategies. And I'm going to do this with a handful of examples. All right, so here's Riot Blockchain. Okay, this is a stock that I've been long since way back when it was, $2-3. I made it very clear a while ago to Leavitt Brothers subscribers that I believed Bitcoin was going to go to 100,000 this year, and that I was going to maintain a core position in Bitcoin stocks no matter what, or almost no matter what. So even though this drop here was pretty stiff, I just held my core position the whole way. All right, so anyways, stock was strong, trending up, good volume, everything in place. We had a little bit of a resistance line right here. So coming into this week, it was very reasonable to think in terms of, hey, maybe you can get a pullback to the 8 and then get in for an eventual breakout, or if the stock just breaks out, let's get long. So this is what happened this week. Monday, the stock gapped up and went up huge, and then today it gapped up again and rallied huge again. So the question is, how do you play that? Okay, if you weren't in the position, how can you get in a position that goes up so much so fast in such a short period of time? So let's zoom in. Here's the 5-minute chart, and this is how I would do it. Okay, so the stock gapped up to here, pushed a little bit higher, came down, tested the 8 EMA. Okay, so the light blue line is the 8 EMA, the orange line is the 21 EMA. So it came down, tested the 8, and then rode the 8 up. Okay, then it traded in a range. As you can see here, okay, you have bottom of the range here, bottom of the range here. So you have buy signals from the stochastic, and I teach about using the stochastic to enter trades. Stock moves off a low. It gets comfortable above the 8 and 21 here, moves up, comes back down, tests the 21. You get another buy signal from the stochastic. Then it continues up. Today it gapped up here. Once again, dropped to test the 8, and then followed the 8 up, and then it fell hard. Okay, and it fell hard, and you also had a stochastic trendline break there, which is another thing that I teach in my class. So even though the stock went up a bunch, okay, the stock has doubled in just a couple of days, and from the open yesterday, which was somewhere in the 27.5 area and went all the way up to 40, even though it went up a lot in a short period of time, there are still entries on intraday charts using moving averages, using the stochastic. All right, here is Atom. Okay, nice base, good volume here as it starts to move up. Notice it follows its 8 up, and then it gaps up and runs. So this was profiled at Leavitt Brothers. We had this as a bounce play. I'm going to draw some trend lines in here. So we profiled it over here as a bounce play, just back to the high, and then if it consolidated there, then we're going to look for a breakout play. I covered this in last week's video, so now I'm going to cover the next step of what happened. So this is what we played it off the low, then we were holding here because it was still acting very well. And then this happened. The stock broke out. As you can see, it opened up strong here, tested lower, and then went up 2 strong days in a row. So it went from like mid 30s to mid 40s, actually kind of highish 40s. Okay, so the question is, how do you play this? Okay, if you weren't already in, okay, at Leavitt Brothers we were already in because it was profiled back here, but if you weren't already in, it was still playable. So let's look at how it could have been played. So here is the 15-minute chart with the stochastic and MACD. So the stock opened up there on the very first day. It did really well, tested lower, and then rode its 8 up, double touch on the 21, kind of popped here, consolidated with a little touch on the 21, then rode its 8 up again, another test on the 21, and then it moved up. Okay, so from here of like 33 or 34, 35 up to over here 46, 47, you got a lot of points available. So so besides the touches on the moving averages, which give you a frame of reference, another thing I look at is something I call my ABC pattern on the MACD. So if you start here with X, you have an A, B, C pattern, so you get a buy signal over here, and at the same time that is happening, we get a breakout on the stochastic. Okay, so you get an ABCD pattern on the MACD, you have a breakout on the stochastic. At the same time, the stock had popped off below, consolidated for a couple of bars, and then continued up. Okay, so lots of entries available, even if you missed the beginning, even if you weren't in, using some technical indicators to help pinpoint entries, using moving averages to give you frame of reference. There are definitely entries all along the trade, even if you missed the beginning of it. Here is Tiger. Okay, stock has been doing really well, moved off a low here, strong volume, nice cut pattern, another little cut pattern. So you got volume here, volume here. So then the stock rallied up. Okay, I profiled this last week, and I talked about this bar here. Okay, but the move has continued, so I'm gonna continue talking about it. What happened after that bar is the stock did this. Okay, there were a gap up in gains, another gap up in gains, another gap up in gains. So we're gonna look at these candles over here and ask the question, like, how could you have traded it if you weren't already in? So here is the 15-minute chart, okay, with the stochastic down below. And so you'll notice that we got a gap up here, and then a test of the 21, and then it moves up, and you can see support from the 21, 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 and then the 21 gets taken out. So there were 4 days in a row on the 15-minute chart that the 21 supported the stock. But we also have some timing. We can use the stochastic for timing. Okay, so we have a trend line break there, trend line break there, trend line break there. This tells you the move is probably going to soften, and then we have another trend line break here. Okay, so trend line break here helps you pinpoint an entry over here. Trend line break over here helps you get in over here. Trend line break here is there. Okay, this tells you we're probably going to have some weakness, not a reason to sell, okay, if you're playing a bigger move, but it just tells you, expect a pullback, probably to a key moving average, in this case the 21. We get a breakout here, and that one didn't work, which is pretty typical. You can play the stock over, and then eventually your very last entry is going to fail because the stock's going to pull back enough that you're going to have to get out. Okay, so you have a strong stock on the daily chart. You can zoom in with a 15-minute chart in this case. You notice a moving average that is supporting the stock, and then you can use trendline breaks of the stochastic to time your entries. I talk about this. I teach this in my masterclass. Last one, COGN. Stock did really well, moving off a low here. Over here you got lots of volume. Stock comes around, rallies huge, obviously giant volume here, forms like a really nice pattern here. For it to ramp up like this on huge volume and then trade within converging trend lines to build pressure, to build energy, and then it breaks out and trends up above its 8 moving average. So we have a resistance line here at 5.5. We have support from the 8 moving average here. Tons of volume, definitely a stock that you want to get involved with. So how do we trade this? So this is what happened. Okay, stock gapped up here and then just continued on for several days. You can see some big intraday ranges in here, which is actually good. Those give you opportunity to enter the stock if you weren't already in. So let's zoom in with an intraday chart and see how we could have traded this. So here's the 60-minute chart. Okay, here's that first move up, the consolidation, and then the breakout there. Okay, so here was the resistance at 5.5. Okay, so we had a couple candles on the daily chart. If you remember, the 8 EMA on the daily chart came in here and started supporting it. Okay, so coinciding with that, we have another one of those on the MACD. We have X, we have A, B, C pattern on the MACD. Okay, so we have a buy signal over here, and then you also have a trend line break on the stochastic. Okay, so the stock moves up, it consolidates, and then we use an ABC pattern on the MACD and a trend line break on the stochastic to help time an entry. And even if you don't get in there, you can see what happened here. The stock opened up strong, pushed higher, came back down, tested the 8 EMA, and then rode the EMA up for several bars, and then it just kind of continued up above the 21. Okay, so I teach how to use the stochastic and the MACD and moving averages with trading strategies in my class. Okay, so at Leavitt Brothers, I profile 20 to 25 new setups every week. All of these stocks have been traded by Leavitt Brothers subscribers because they were profiled right at the beginning of their moves or even before their moves. And in my masterclass, I teach trading strategies with various technical indicators. Both the subscription to Leavitt Brothers and a link to the masterclass are available below this video. Thanks for watching, and I will see you next time.